All right. Welcome back to Fast Stacks NBA edition. We love talking some NBA, man. And so, what we're going to talk about first, we're going to talk about two things, three things, fourth. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But
Maybe
first thing, we're
12 things.
maybe 12 things. First thing we're talking about is the top 10. All right. And so, we're going to talk about the top 10. Then we're going to give our quarter of the year. It's been about a quarter of the season. We're going to give our quarter of the year awards. All right. And so that's what we're going to do. So the top 10, I can start off at number 10. Give me the Philadelphia 76ers at number 10. Um, I think everybody's hurt other than Embiid. He played today. He played pretty well. He had 30. But give me the 76ers. Maxi's out. Harden's been out. Embiid's been carrying this team. Another MVP caliber season for Embiid. And so I really like I don't love their coach. Doc Rivers does not impress me whatsoever. But the personnel on the team and how they still have been playing solid, even with all the injuries that they've had, I have them at number 10.
All right, I got the Atlanta Hawks at 10. I don't know at what point we're going to keep hyping up this backcourt without seeing any results. I mean, the talent's there, and they've got DeAndre Hunter, who's a great two-way player. They've got solid bigs. Their bench is pretty shaky, but I mean, I'm not sold on this team to really
They're not,
make a
even,
run.
they're not even on my list.
They're not
They're,
on my
they're
list either.
yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that. And then I had an honorable mention from each side for the top 10. I had the Kings from the West,
The
and then
Kings.
I have the Wizards from the East. I don't
Yep.
don't love that team, but they're 10-10 and they've got the sixth hardest schedule so far, so that's worth something. But
Jordan Good.
Hawks at 10, yeah, Jordan
Jordan Good.
Goodwin,
Get on the show.
618 legend.
South 7 represent. Velvet Altoff. They're out of the conference, but let me tell you, South 7 represent. They're in the conference and you're there, buddy.
At number 10, I got the Grizzlies.
Jeez.
They've been 5-5. They've been just subpar. A little bit of a injury jumping back and forth with Ja and Desmond Bain. It's just one of those things that I haven't seen anything great out of them yet. So I have them here at 10. I think I like all the other teams in front of them so far.
All right. Number 9, I have the Toronto Raptors. All right. Um, with Siakam out, they've been playing good ball, playing real good ball. And so I like them a lot, especially when Siakam comes back. I really like this team, maybe to make a deep run into the playoffs. Don't know. They're still kind of young. They got a good coach, and I'm pretty sure Nurse is still right there, right?
Yep.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah,
Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, he's a good coach, and but I like this ball team quite a bit, and that I have them at my number 9 spot.
yeah. Some great points were made by Garrett. I got the Grizzlies at 9. I, on paper they should be like 3 or 4, but they just don't really pass the eye test for me. Um, I they're going to be a top 10 team probably all year, but I don't love this team to make a run.
Yeah. At number 9, I got the Toronto Raptors, like Tyler did. I like this team a lot. I mean, you're talking about a gritty team, play some defense. They're only giving up 100 grand. It's not great, 108.5 points per game, but I mean, they have not been healthy all year. And the fact that they're, 11-9 and playing a pretty good schedule. I mean, they knocked off Cleveland tonight by 12, which I was pretty impressed with in Siakam's return game. So I have them at 9.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it before. At number 8, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. They've kind of fell down on my list, obviously, but just like they said, they've been dealing with some injuries with Bain and Morant. Hopefully, they can turn it up a little bit here, going into the going until the All Star break, and so hopefully, they can turn it up a little bit because I really like Morant. I really like the Grizzlies as a team, as an organization, but just kind of fell down my list a little bit after this recent stint here.
Yeah, I mean we're all on the same page. We have them flip flopped a little bit. I got the Raptors at 8. great performance by Siakam tonight in his first game back, and an unsung hero on that team's been OG Anunoby. I mean, he stepped up really big in Siakam's absence. That's good to see that they've got another piece that can step up when you need it. That's just Toronto's not a place you want to play a road playoff game. So I think they're going to be, despite I don't know if they're going to have a great record this year. They're definitely going to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to be a team that could knock off one of the front runners.
Listen, I love me some OG Anunoby. Like that, he might be one of my favorite players to watch in the league. Just the grit
Yeah.
on defense.
And
The
underrated 4 is Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, I just love that team. It's all grit. Number 8, I got the Clippers. You know, they're not been great this year. They're 12-9, but they've been really good for who they have playing right now. I mean, you're talking about Paul George being out for a good amount of games, and Kawhi's only played what, 2? I think Kawhi's played 2 or 3 games max this season. It's one of those things that they're in a great spot for like how everyone's who's playing right now. And Reggie Jackson's a dog. So just to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, so I believe we're at number 7. I have the Indiana Pacers. Look at this team. I mean,
come on.
What do you mean, come on?
Dude, they've got the 3rd easiest schedule in basketball. They're not going to be contender. They're playing good right now, and they're a good young team, but they're just, I don't know.
Hey,
right now you could have them in a top 10, but
any given day, what's the end goal? To win ball games. And
win ball games. You're right.
They win ball games. All right. They're 5 or 6 in the East right now. They win the ball games that they need to do. Ben Mathurin, I mean, these Arizona program, they just pump out guys. All right. Even if they hire hookers and strippers and stuff, they just pump out guys. All right. And so
let me ask you this though. When's the last team to make it to the finals without a star?
Without a star?
Without a star.
So are we
you need a star.
Are you telling me you don't think Tyrese Halliburton can be a star?
No.
The 2004 Pistons.
Chauncey Billups?
There's a lot of guys on that team that are playing good.
Yeah.
Seeing that he was like the biggest.
Okay, let's say you're right, though. I'm not even going to argue that, but that's 18 years ago. Like, I just don't see this team.
I'm saying he's the biggest name, but I don't think he was like the star. You know, like he wasn't like a KD.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying
it wasn't like LeBron in 2007 just carrying the Cavs on his back. Like that wasn't that. Like he had like Rasheed Wallace and like a bunch of other guys on the team.
Yeah.
Spurs, they just had a bunch of stars.
All right. Number 7, I got the Philadelphia 76ers. This is flirting with a little too high. I've liked what I've seen from DeAnthony Melton and Shake Milton and Tobias Harris in the absence of their 3 best players.
You want to talk to me about the Pacers, and you're over here saying freaking I don't even know his name.
I'm saying, I mean, it's the same thing with the Raptors. When their good players are out and their next guys are stepping up and keep them in ball games, if they can come back healthy, I think the 76ers might be the 3rd best team in the East. I'm taking a healthy 76ers team in a playoff series over the Cavs.
I don't think so, man. Doc Rivers stinks. I don't think you've ever seen Doc Rivers in action. I don't trust that guy.
I'm a Celtics fan. I've seen Doc Rivers in action. I've seen some Doc Rivers choke shows, man.
The only championship he can ever win with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Allen and Rondo all playing.
The best Celtics team since
in their prime.
Freaking golly.
All right. Number 7, I'm with Tyler on this one. I got the Pacers, man. I love it. I love the Tyrese Halliburton. I love Ben Mathurin. Miles Turner's still there, and he's still producing. I mean, you're talking about 4 guys averaging 17 plus points a game. You know how many teams have that? You're talking about Halliburton's averaging 19 and 11 assists. Let's just be honest. That he needs to be put in this. He needs to be put in this MVP talk a little bit. Yeah.
That's a stretch. Yeah.
He might be in.
I like seeing the Pacers win, but that is. I mean, that's a hot yoga 100-degree stretch right there. I mean, you're touching your toes 5 feet past right now.
He might be in my MVP honorable mentions later.
Benedict
Mathurin, 18 points, Miles Turner, 18 points, and then you have Buddy Hield at 17. Just absolute sharpshooter. I mean, this team, they get up and down the floor, and I mean, I just love how they run. It's not like it's just one guy. So this is a team that you like watching. The eye test loves this team.
That's a good point. Number 6, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let me tell you something. They have not impressed me as of late. But this team still has the same horses. So they're always probably going to be in my top 10, but they got to show me a little something here because they have not played as great as of late as they have. I do think they're a top team in the East when they're all gelling and playing good, but they are not all playing good right now. So I had them skid down. Usually they're a top 3, top 4 team. I skid them down to 6 for this week.
Number 6, I have the Phoenix Suns. They've stayed about where they're at. They're playing good basketball. I don't know. They're a team that I love what I see in the regular season, but I don't know if this team's built to win it. I don't think a team like this has enough scoring threats in a playoff series. I mean, we got Devin Booker. It's a coin flip. Is like Garrett, as a Suns fan, tell me, it's got to feel like a coin flip of which version of DeAndre Ayton you're going to get.
Oh,
if you get the good kind, I love this team. I love like when DeAndre Ayton's like getting rebounds and dominant, being a bully down low. They're my favorite team to win the West.
Oh,
but if you
100%.
get the DeAndre Ayton that doesn't show up, you get the Mikal Bridges that can't hit the broadside of a barn, and Devin Booker's got to put up 40 to keep him in a game. He put up 49 for them to. Did they lose or win by 1 against the Jazz? He put up like almost damn near 50 points.
By 1.
They lost by 1. He put up 50 points. I mean, that's tough. That is tough.
They've won 4 since then. So
yeah, no, they're playing good.
Yeah.
The next, my 4 through 6 could have been in literally any order. I actually put them in alphabetical order. But
so at number 6, I got the Cavs. I don't know. I haven't been impressed with them. They're 5-5 in their last 10. I don't know. I haven't been impressed with this team here lately. I mean, I honestly thought they were going to go into Toronto today and give Toronto a better game. You know, Siakam coming off an injury, first game back, and it was just. I mean, you don't even score 90. You hit 88 and you don't even score 90. Yeah. That's a rough look. I hate to say it in any NBA game. That's a rough look. So I don't know. I think they're gonna have their struggles every once in a while. It's still obviously it's new having Donovan Mitchell in the space on the floor with all those big guys. So it'll be interesting. But I mean, they're still definitely my top 6. So I got them at 6.
I mean, if you look at and this is just an observation, if you look at their games, like Donovan Mitchell had 8 points today.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, he's been returning to human form in a hurry the last
I mean, and the thing is, like, for this team to win, I feel like the X factor is Darius Garland. I mean, if he scores over 20 points, they're pretty much locked to win the game. And so, yes. I mean, he's had 18 today, which they weren't even close. But I mean, there's been games where he's had to score 30, 35, and they're barely squeaking by games. And so I think Mitchell's got to help him out a little bit because Garland's playing really, really well. And anyway,
I would argue Darius Garland means more to this team than Donovan Mitchell means to this team. I think you would agree with me on that. Like Darius Garland it sets the tempo of this pace. And I mean, he's dishing out eight assists a game with the 23 points he's putting up. Like that's pretty impressive. So
I mean, it is, but at the same time, like you went out and traded for this guy, and Garland is going to put up his numbers, and he's a good player. But Mitchell is having the same problems he did in Utah. Like he's very inconsistent. Like you can have a 5-game stretch where he's like an MVP caliber player, and then he has another 5-game stretch where he's like, dude, you should be coming off the bench. Like, and I feel like he was the exact same way at Louisville too. Like to be honest about it. So, anyway, number 5, Pelicans. All right, and so I love this team. Young team, Ingram, Zion. CJ McCollum, shout out CJ McCollum, 2012, Lehigh, 15-2 beating Duke. All right, shout out. But yeah, I mean, this team just rolls, baby. They play good ball. Zion's going back to the form where he got drafted #1 overall, and I mean, he is a really good player. I mean, I don't have to say it to anybody. He's very, very good. He's very efficient. Now, I mean, that's what you gotta say about him. He doesn't miss a whole lot, especially when he's driving into the paint. And so I love this Pelicans team. Maybe to make a deep run. I think they're the third, fourth best team in the West right now. But I do like this team. Maybe this is not their year to win the championship, but I think a few more years, get more developed, maybe get another piece, role player, bench player. I think they'd be ready to roll.
Yeah, I love that take. Not gonna comment on it too much. Number 5, I got the Cavs. Disappointing stretch for them. I if they don't figure something out, they're gonna keep slipping on this list every time we do it. I don't know. I mean, they've been battling some Jarrett Allen health issues, and they're mixing up their units with. They haven't been starting Karis LeVert much lately, so I don't know if that's just a little growing pains trying to figure out what squads work best together. But yeah, they've not been playing great ball lately. I got them at 5.
Me and Tyler's seen eye to eye. I got the Pelicans at 5. I this team's just young and they haven't all been healthy yet, but they're all still. Yeah, I mean, you're still 12-8. I mean, they're putting up points like crazy. I mean, they're like, what are they? I think the Celtics are the only team. Celtics, Golden State. Oh, there's actually and Utah and Sacramento are the only 3 teams putting up more points than them. Uh, I don't know. I like this team a lot. That's young. Tyler already mentioned it. This team's gonna be pretty good for just not just this year, but in the future too.
No, yeah. Um, #4, I got the Denver Nuggets. Um, let me tell you something. If I were to bet a favorite to win the West right now, it'd be the Denver Nuggets. Um, this team can go deep. You know what they're doing? We've talked about it a minute. I feel like we beat this drum too far. They have limited Aaron Gordon's minutes, and I know he's been hurt. He only played 13 minutes tonight, and I love
Yep.
that. I absolutely love that. I know they play the Rockets, but still, Murray had 31, Jokic had 32, 12, and 8. Um, I'm going to tell you something right now, and he's one of the most efficient 3-point shooters, but he doesn't shoot a 3 ball that much. Caldwell Pope has well over a 50% percentage from 3. He needs to rip it a little more. Only shooting 3 threes, and you're that much of a knockdown shooter. He needs to rip it, man. Like, let him. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I didn't know the flow of the game, but I would love for him to just rip it just a little bit more.
Yeah, number 4, I got the Pelicans. I love what I see from this Pelicans team. My only beef, and I don't know what you guys think with the Pelicans, is like he's a good player. Let's get Herb Jones out of the starting lineup. I would
Whoa!
I would love for this team to play Ingram at the 3, move McCollum to a 2 to where he can play off the ball a little more, and then start Jose Alvarado just to be a facilitator and a defensive guy. And then you bring Herb Jones off the bench. You got Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Larry Nance Jr., and then you just get a guard out there that can give those guys the ball. I mean, I just that's my only 2 cents on them is I think McCollum's role would be best as more of a 2, but
McCollum didn't even play today.
I'm I'm not gonna disagree with you on that one, Jacob. I I love Herb Jones, man. I love
no,
like
that's what
I
I'm
mean
saying. Like he'd be like if he's your 6th guy. I mean, that's a dang good team.
that's putting a defensive player of the year candidate on the bench, which is crazy to think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that guy is I could argue as last year could have been he was definitely top 5 on my list of defensive player of the years if you like came down to it. But I, I mean I like Alvarado, but I see what you're saying, but I would have a tough time sitting Herb Jones.
yeah.
He played 38 minutes tonight. Herb Jones.
That doesn't surprise me.
Jeez.
It's a dog. Um
#4.
Number 4, I got the Nuggets just like Tyler does, man. Seeing eye to eye. we're gonna be the rest of the way. I'm sure we're the same also.
No, Suns are even on my list.
Oh really?
Come on.
Gotcha. Nuggets. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. They're decent. They can play. So Tyler already covered that earlier.
Number 3, I got the Phoenix Suns. I did get Garrett right there. He definitely thought I had him off the list, but they're playing a lot better to me. I do not like this team, but I gotta give respect to where it's due, man. They've been playing good ball. Number 1 in the West right now. They just I agree with Jacob. I don't think you're trusting Mikal Bridges to rip it, but let me tell you something. When he does rip it, it's probably one of the most exciting teams to watch, one of the most exciting players to watch if he just is on. But he's not on very often. Like 1 out of every 4 games, maybe. And that's not going to keep you through a playoff series. Ayton, same way. He's soft. I could probably out rebound him in a game. Not gonna lie, because I just get in his kitchen and he won't be able to handle that smoke. All right. And so I don't know.
I mean, what do you guys think about this? My comp for the Suns is they're a slightly better Mavericks.
Nah.
Do you guys realize what Mikal Bridges is shooting 3-point percentage wise this year?
It's not every game though, Garrett. He's not reaping.
The games I watch, he's pretty streaky. So I don't know what his percentages are, but
He's shooting
he'll get real hot.
46.9.
He's 0 for 4, so that's going to go down today.
That's fine. I'm just saying 46.9. What were we gonna drop him? He shot 4 games, so it's gonna drop him to like 45.3. That's still what I would label as a quote unquote elite 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with Mikal Bridges. I'm just saying he's not going to be the guy in a playoff series. Like now, regular season, he's putting up big numbers. Like that's it. I mean, if that's your
but he's not I don't know. He's right. Booker is the only one that can actually score on this team
right now.
From a playoff picture, I'm seeing that Jokic could be an issue for Ayton. Zion Williamson will 100% be an issue for Ayton. Wrong division, Jesus. I think DeAndre Ayton should cook against Steven Adams.
I don't even know, man. Steven Adams is a defensive rebounding center.
I'm saying scoring. I think DeAndre Ayton
scoring. Yeah, I'm talking about just
getting the boards. Yeah.
I mean, he's not when I think of Ayton, give me 15 a game and 10 boards. If you can do that, this team's gonna be pretty good. And sometimes he has 7 rebounds against a Sacramento team. What are we even talking about now? He needs to dominate the boards, man. He needs to, and he's just not doing it. And he's not dominating scoring either. He has 15 again against the Kings. They're a solid team, but they're not a great team. If you have Jokic down there, or if you have even Adams down there out rebounding you, or
Garrett, we give you a hard time about it, but I mean, Devin Booker's an elite talent. He just needs Ayton can step up and be consistent, and if Bridges can shoot the 3 ball well,
you couldn't make the starting
Chris
line.
Paul back from the back from the nursing home. I mean, that's going to be a solid team.
I really am waiting for Paul to be back because I love the ball. Booker off ball is so much better than him on ball. Don't get me wrong, he's good on ball, but him coming off screens off ball is elite. The amount of buckets he gets off ball, just curling screens, is pretty solid. And Paul's really good at distributing it to him that way.
And when's Cam Johnson come back? I don't even remember what.
That's also a huge factor here. Cam Johnson is knocked down.
I'm tired. I'm tired of turning on the Suns games on NBA League Pass and having to watch Torrey freaking Craig play basketball. I'm tired of it.
Hey, I
talk about a guy that shouldn't be in the NBA. Get him out. He's awful.
I love Torrey Craig in the off
he's
the bench.
Awful.
But yeah, he's not a starter. He's nothing near starter worthy. But I don't know. Jacob, did you get into your number 3?
My number 3 is Denver Nuggets. I've said it for the last couple of weeks. They're my favorite team to win the Western Conference right now. I think they're a very complete team. Jamal Murray's looked very good this year, and it's, I mean, Jokic is not having to do as much with some players healthy. If KCP is your worst starter, you're probably in pretty good shape.
I think Aaron Gordon's their
And
worst
they've
starter.
got some. I mean,
Yeah, Aaron Gordon's the worst.
Aaron Gordon's not great, but
KCP, I mean, Aaron Gordon gives them absolutely nothing on offense and not that much on defense. KCP at least gives you something on freaking offense. He's not.
Spaces the floor.
Yeah. But I like Bones Highland off the bench too. He's a good player. But I got them at 3. True. I think they're looking good.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Nuggets made the Western Conference Finals in the bubble, but Jamal Murray got hurt in that series, right? And then he got hurt that series, but he was playing out of his mind in the bubble. Out of his mind.
Yeah, he was.
And that's what had him getting this big contract with the Nuggets. Then he was out all last year. Then he was back in this year. He's not skipped a beat, man. And so I really like Jamal Murray in the spot. He is as much as it's kind of weird to say, he is a star player in this league. I mean, he is a 100% star player along with Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. is a good role player. I'd say he's a little bit better than a role player, but
he's kind of in that like Klay Thompson role player. Like now Klay Thompson.
Yeah, but it's like
he's better than the role player, but like on a really good team, he has a role.
But like this team, like Michael Porter Jr. can like 430 any night, and like and any player.
Yeah, it's the same with Klay. Like exactly.
He just has that much talent in the arsenal, but he just doesn't display it all the time. Just because he's been hurt.
Doesn't need to.
Yeah, he doesn't need to, especially. So, Garrett, you go your number 3. I think you're going to say the
number 3. I got the Suns. I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with anybody that what they've said so far. The team needs Cam Johnson back. They need Paul back. But I'll have to admit, for those two both being out and them still being at the top of the Western Conference, I'm pretty happy with how this team's rolling right now.
Yeah. I think for a regular season, I'm more impressed with how they've responded to losing Cam Johnson. Like for a regular season, I could care less about having to play Cam Payne over Chris Paul.
Yeah, I love. I think when
the chips are on the table in a playoff series, I mean, give me Chris Paul over Cam Johnson. But man, like Cam Payne stepped up and he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I love having Cam Payne and Torrey Craig off the bench. Those two are great off the bench. I mean, don't get me wrong. Cam Payne stepped up and been pretty solid so far as a starter, but Torrey Craig he's not really suitable for a starting spot. But I love him defensively. He's pretty solid defensively. I'll give him that.
All right, well, I'm done messing around. We just got the Celtics, Bucks 1 and 2.
Yeah, I got Celtics 1, Bucks 2.
I mean, that's just pretty cut and dry. Giannis, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Milton.
I mean, I'm a Celtics fan. I'm not even being biased. Celtics are on a ungodly tear right now. Yeah. They've been playing some pretty bad teams too, but
they're going to come back to earth. I mean, they're still.
I want them to come back to earth. I don't want the 73-9. I mean, that's out of the picture, but I don't want like a super, super above expectation season rolling into the, like, I think in sports, you don't want to be rolling. Like you don't want to blow your expectations out of the water and have a extra pressure on you going into the postseason. Like just let's finish strong, try and get the 1 or 2 seed in the East and go from there.
Right. All right, guys, quarter of the way through the season. So what do we think? Who do we think, just your predictions right now, who's going to come out of the Eastern Conference and who's going to come out of the Western Conference? All right. And so one of you guys can go first so I can think about it.
I have my 4 teams, I think, my top 4 to come out.
Okay.
Give us your number 1. You got like gun to your head. You got to pick one right now.
I'm just right now.
Yeah,
dude, it's between Celtics and Bucks, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to say Celtics, but I have a hard time not choosing the Bucks considering where they're at right now. If Middleton comes back healthy and Drew Holiday is right, we know what Giannis is gonna do. Like that team is scary. So I'll probably take the Bucks, but Celtics are right there, man. Those two are gonna battle again this year. It's gonna be a battle for those two are gonna battle for the next coming years, I think.
Yeah. Who are your other two?
I had these two I don't think are gonna make it, but just honorable mentions. I had Toronto and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland not so much, but Toronto I just love Toronto's defense. And if Toronto can get up there and it's hard to win, it's hard to beat Toronto in Toronto. We've already mentioned that. And it's gonna be rough for them to go through both those teams because I don't see them getting the first or second spot. But
Yeah.
that would be my sneaky team in the East if I had to choose.
Yeah. Um, a lot of the same here. My pick right now is the Celtics. I think their offense is just unbelievable. And if they can get Robert Williams back and healthy and shore up their defense just a little bit, I mean, I don't see what's stopping this team from winning a title. My second honorable mention was the Bucks. That's as a Celtics fan, that's the one thing that scares me is Milton coming back and getting back on that Bucks team. They're going to be scary. I'm out on the Cavs this year. I'm officially, this first time me saying I'm out on the Cavs having any shot this year. I think this is a growing pains year. Hopefully they can keep their core around. And I think next year they could be just a real contender. But I got the Raptors in there, like Garrett said. That's just a great basketball team. And I don't think the Raptors can beat the Bucks, but I do think the Raptors can beat the Celtics.
So I'll the reason why I have the Cavs in there, I didn't really explain this is because the length comes into a little bit more of a count in the playoffs, just defensively and being able to score the ball. It helps a little bit. It just seems to if you pay attention to it. And that team's length is just scary. That'd be the only reason I would like. That's like those are the only four teams I could see. The Cavs are by far the least out of those, but I could somehow see them maybe win it, or like make it out, but I don't think they will. Obviously, I think it's
Yeah.
Bucks Celtics.
Yeah, so for the East, I have two teams and I have a few upsets. Don't be mad at me, but this is what I think. All right. I don't think the Celtics are making the conference finals. I don't think the Celtics are going to make it too far in the playoffs. I think this is a letdown year. They kind of like you said, they've been playing really good. Don't think it. So the two teams that I have, Milwaukee Bucks and Atlanta Hawks. All right. I know you guys don't like Atlanta too much, but I do have a plus 2,000 future for them to win the East. All right. I don't think that's bad value, especially from where they're at. The backcourt will get it figured out. Clint Capella is not bad. Hunter's good player. All right. Two other teams that I think one of them we've already touched on is the Raptors. The other one that I think after they fire their coach after like 6 games, they've been playing a lot better, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. All right. And so I think that the new coaches, Kyrie's just got to not be an idiot. And KD is just an MVP, number one, for sure, caliber player. And so I think the Nets could make a run at the Eastern Conference as well. I know I kind of went upset city there, but that's just what I think. For the Western Conference, I think it's gonna be Nuggets and Warriors. And
Real quick before we get into the West, I think it's a hotter take to have the Hawks in there than the Nets. I'm just not high on this Hawks team. I could see the Nets figuring out anytime you got KD and Kyrie Irving on the same team, if they can figure it out remotely, that's scary. And I mean, regardless of what we can say about Ben Simmons' offense at times, like he's a great defensive player. But man, I just don't love that Hawks team. I mean, if you're looking at these other teams in the East, the guards and small forwards on those teams are. I mean, we talk about this Hawks backcourt, but I mean, I think Darius, like as a 1-2, I'd take Garland and Mitchell over those two.
Well, okay, but
as long as Mitchell's right, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
I think there's more consistency with Young and Murray.
I don't think there is. I mean, Murray's pretty inconsistent.
I would say
I think Trae Young's relatively consistent, but
I don't know if I'd put Trae Young in the consistent. I think out of those four, Darius Garland's the most consistent player. I think we'd all agree with that.
Yeah. I think he's got the least upside of the four. and I think he's the most consistent. And it's not by much, but I think at their best, he's the worst.
Oh, I think probably, but he's also the youngest out of that crew too, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty reasonable.
Western Conference. Nuggets and Warriors are my two teams that I think are gonna be one of them. I know we're down on the Warriors, but I'm just gonna be honest about it. I'm never gonna count out Steph and Clay and Draymond and Steve Kerr and in the playoffs. I'm just not gonna do it. They can be a 7 seed, 6 seed, and win it. I mean, that's just bottom line. They're that good. The starting five is that good at least. And so the two teams that I have behind them is the New Orleans Pelicans. I think they're a little young for it, but I do think they have the ability to make a deep run. And then the other team, if they get all their freaking players healthy and we start playing some freaking games, is the Los Angeles Clippers. If Kawhi and Paul George and all of them are back and they're playing every single day, they get in the flow before the playoffs start, this team will win the NBA championship. And I mean, I'm just going to say it right now. If they're all playing and healthy, they will absolutely win the NBA championship. Ty Lue, maybe the best NBA coach in the league right now. And I think that the Clippers, they're that good if they're all healthy.
All right. Let me just get right into this because I got some different opinions. I do like Ty Lue. I think he's a great coach. I think a healthy Clippers team probably isn't in my top 6 or 7 teams to win the finals. I'm not sold on him. I don't see that much there. For the West, I think the Nuggets are number 1 for me. And then 2A and 2B. 2A, I'm going to give it to the Suns. I like the Suns. Like we just talked about, if you can, here's my if you can get Ayton playing at his best, and you get Booker playing well, and you get Chris Paul back healthy, if those things can fall in order, I think the Suns beat the Warriors this year. And I think the Suns would have a tougher time with the Pelicans and the Warriors. But those things need to fall in place. The Suns need to be playing well. But I think this is a year where they can step up and kind of get rid of this playoff curse people like talk about. I got the Warriors in there. Never can count them out when they got that starting five, but their bench just sucks. It's just awful. And I got the Pelicans in there. I think if they can figure it out, they got maybe 1 to 10 more talent than anybody in the league. So those are mine. They can prove me wrong, but I'm not high on that Clippers team, man. I think Paul George is losing a step. He's still an elite player in the league. And I don't even
I'm
take
not
it
understanding
serious.
how he's losing a step. I mean, he's averaging 24, 6, and 4. I mean, Marcus Morris,
I mean, from him in Indiana and Oklahoma City, I'd say that's losing a step.
Zubac is a good player. I mean, he doesn't have to. Like, they're still winning ball games. Like, even with
in the regular season early on, and they've got
Luke
they've
Kennard
got the second. They've had the second easiest schedule this year. They're 12-9. They've had the second easiest schedule this year. I mean, it's early on. They're playing fine. They're winning games, but like here's the thing. I'll be honest. When you say, oh, if this Clippers team can get healthy, I don't even take that seriously because I don't believe they're going to be healthy. I don't think Kawhi is going to come back and be Kawhi. Maybe he will, and if he does, then yeah, they're going to be a good team. But I don't even think that's a real possibility for us to see anything like Kawhi was. I just don't think it's in the cards anymore. But never know. But they aren't in my conversation until Kawhi can play more than 1 every 5 games.
I mean that's just they win. Here's the thing: they win. I don't care about the freaking strength of schedule. I don't care about anything. They win ball games. That is the thing you need to do to get in the playoffs. So the number 5 team in the West. I'm not understanding. Even with the team they have now, they cannot be in the conversation with one of the best coaches in the NBA and Paul George and Morris and Wall and Kennard and Zubac, and I can keep naming off players, and you still can't believe in them, then you're just an idiot.
I mean, we're talking about the professional basketball players here. I
I
mean, are
understand.
we really going to talk about? I mean, yeah, there's coaches that aren't good, but this isn't football. I mean, like these guys know how to play basketball.
I understand they know how to play basketball, but they need to have a right direction, and they're not putting out the personnel on the team. They're not putting out the starting five. They're not putting out the players that can play together and the players that can't. The players don't do that. The coach does.
Yeah, I understand, but they're just managing that.
If they don't manage it, then no one else does. He's one of the best at managing it.
I think he leads them to a first round loss.
Okay. I'll bet you right. I'll bet you right now they get to the second round.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
All right. Well, now we've had that discussion. I have the sense that one. Obviously, this is if they all come back and we all. I mean, Jacob even agrees. If DA is playing right, this team is by far the team to beat in the West. Yeah, I mean that's the question. And I love I don't know, backcourt wise, I will probably take Paul and Booker over almost anybody else in the West. I don't think you're. I mean, besides maybe Clay and Steph. Yeah, I mean that'd be the only argument if you ask me. I got the Clippers at 2. And the reason why that is because it's all potential. It's all whether if Kawhi comes back. If Kawhi comes back, man, like I said earlier, I had them at 8 in my rankings. I'm impressed with where they're at right now, even if their schedule's not the best. Uh, I don't know. That's a huge person to be missing to still be 12-7, I think, right?
12
I
and
have it
9.
pulled up. 12-9. That is still I still have 12 wins. Number 3, I have the Nuggets. The Aaron Gordon situation. I mean, no, I don't know. I still have them at 3. I think they're probably if obviously if Kawhi doesn't come back or doesn't play or anything like that, they move up to the 2 spot. And then I got the Pelicans at 4 just because they're youth. I mean, I think it's all pretty simple. I'm just sticking with my guns and the Suns on this one. I think they're still the team to beat in the West if I had to choose one. The only thing you guys are gonna call we already had this discussion about the Warriors. Not a huge fan of the 117 points against on average, and that's gonna have to by far decrease if they're going to want to make the playoffs, or not make the playoffs, but go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a good point, but I think that doesn't scare me as much in a playoff situation just because the starters can handle a little more minutes that time of the year.
I know. It's just
I think that alludes more to them needing to figure their crap out before the trade deadline with this bench.
I hate to say it, and
their starting units top 3 in offense and defensive rating.
Oh yeah,
and their bench is got to be almost dead last.
Think about this: their top, their teams. You know what I mean? Top 3 in offensive, and what did you say? Offensive and what?
Offensive and defensive rating. They're just their starting unit together.
I mean, they've been pretty solid. It's just like
their bench is so bad. It's
the fact that you're 11-10 and then the 8th seed is not pretty, especially with that stat showing. That means you have to fix something on the bench, or else you're really in trouble.
I was listening to a podcast today, and they said the Warriors should trade for Jakob Poeltl.
Wouldn't be a bad pick. Would not be a bad pickup.
Bring him in then on the second unit so they can have some interior presence. I'm not loving an interior presence where you've got freaking who is it? Kuminga and Anthony Lamb down low.
Anthony Lamb.
I mean, goodness. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's a rough one.
All right, guys, let's transition to the MVP conversation. Let's try to speed it along a little bit. I know we're getting long on this NBA, but we bring the heat on NBA. We talk a lot about it. MVP for we're gonna split it up. They don't split it up, we're gonna split it up. MVP for the East. I'm just gonna rip through them. I got Tatum.
Yep.
I got Embiid. I got Giannis, and I got Durant. In that order. I think Embiid over this past stretch has been the most dominant player in the East. I think Giannis is just a great player, and Durant is kind of carrying this team. So that's what I got for the East.
Yeah, my first quarter MVP is Jason Tatum. They're the best team in the league right now, and he's the best player on that team. My second, and these could be interchanged, is Giannis. He's kept this Bucks team relevant without Middleton. I think he's the best player in the world right now. But 3, I got KD. Embiid is off my list because I think if the 76ers are going to be a contender, they're going to need Harden and Maxey back. And I don't think he puts up as ludicrous numbers with them back. So I don't have him on the list. Third's KD for me. I do like Tyler's take about the Nets being dark horses to make a run.
Thank you.
So my order goes Tatum, Giannis, and then I'm going with KD. So I'm going Tatum, Giannis, KD, and then I'm going Embiid. And then my fifth throw in is Tyrese Halliburton. That's just my fifth throw in.
You just had to say that, didn't you? I was so on board with that. All right, we're moving on.
Dude,
we don't even have time. We don't have time to unpack this. I can. He doesn't even average 20 points a game.
He doesn't have to. He's distributing the ball at 11 assists a game.
MVP Western Conference. Number 1, I got Luka. Number 2, I got Curry. Number 3, I got Jokic. But let me tell you something. I know you guys went to 3. I'm going to go honorable mention number 4, Shane Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, I like that list a lot. I got Curry. If I'm handing out the MVP right now for the Western Conference, it's going to Stephen Curry. This team might be 0-21 if he was not on that team. I mean, Clay had one outrageous night. Wiggins has been solid all year, but Curry's been unbelievable. Number 2 is Luka. He's putting up video game numbers, but he's in the system where he's got to for them to have any chance in a game. It's either 0-5 or 1-5. So someone can check me on this, but when he doesn't score 30 points, they're either 0-5 or 1-5. That's insane. And then third, I got SGA. I mean, he's on an awful team, which hurts him in the MVP race. But I mean, that guy I think he's one of the best point guards in the league. I think he's for sure top 3 point guards in the league. And I mean, if he was on not an atrocious tanking team, he's a good player. But
I have Jokic. No. I'm taking Steph. I'm sorry. Why did I say that? I'm taking Steph and Jokic. I think those are hands down to Luka. I like Luka being 9-10. Like, I don't know. Having a losing record's hard for me. I mean, I have Luka at 3. It's just hard for me to put you up, and then I obviously have it's SGA and D-Book would be my next 2. Those would be my next 2. I mean, it's just the fact that Luka's 9-10. It's a rough one.
I get it. There's only 3 games slate tomorrow. Probably won't. You guys want to talk about it? I don't think.
Let's fast ask them because I got 2 bets I really like for this. All right, I'll read them off real quick. First one is the Knicks at the
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers.
Pistons. Oh.
No, Pistons. Knicks at the Pistons. Knicks are -4.
Knicks.
-4.5. I don't love this game one bit. My lean would 100% be the Knicks, but I doubt I bet it because I don't trust the Knicks with my life. But they should win that game. They're the better team. Lean Knicks.
Knicks.
I'll tell you the play. Just go Knicks, just because there's a chance Jaden Ivey, Bohan Bogdanovic, and Isaiah Stewart don't play.
All right, next up, one of my favorite bets of the night, Warriors -1 at the Mavericks. Give me the Warriors all day. I'm so low on this Mavericks team. They are awful besides Luka, and the Warriors are trending up. The Mavericks are trending down.
Warriors and the over.
Yeah, not a bad bet. It's pretty low for a Warriors game. It's at 228.
It's not bad.
It's low for a Warriors game, high for a Dallas game.
Yeah,
let's just be honest. I'd honestly probably lead the under because I think you're going to see that Luka has to play. They have to play slow on Dallas. I might take Warriors -6.5 in this one. I mean, I'm taking Warriors money line, but like I don't know how this line's even. If I'm being completely honest, just the way both
It's
these
because
teams
the
are playing.
Warriors are so bad on the road.
They
They're
are
like
2-9
they're
on the road. That is a
yeah
valid point to make. And the Mavericks are 8-3 at home.
yeah. Not it.
But
It's I just man.
talk about
If
the two worst teams on the road, and I might be taking the road team to win.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, third game. A bet I like even more than the Warriors. You got Clippers at the Trailblazers. Trailblazers are -3.5. I, for one freaking second, don't understand this line. It might slap me in the face tomorrow, but I literally think this should be Trailblazers -8 or 9. I don't know what this line is. No John Wall, no Luke Kennard, no Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I
They're going to
agree.
start Reggie Jackson. They're going to start Marcus Morris. They're going to start Zubac. Are they going to start Powell? I mean, who else? I don't know who they're going to play.
Is
Austin.
Damian Lillard playing?
He wasn't on the ESPN report.
Yeah,
But he's also
'cause
not on the. I don't care if he plays or not.
that's what I'm saying. In all honesty, I'd rather him not play. I feel like that team plays better when he doesn't play. The ball moves so much better on offense if you watch it. Like it's honestly crazy. I love Damian Lillard, but like that team is like
No,
Indiana.
Lillard is out. Lillard's out, and Gary Payton is out. So their bench
That
is a little hurt.
that doesn't
But
hurt that team that much. Like doesn't hurt the
so
team.
you're gonna see Anthony Simons, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, Nurkic, and Hart be your starting five.
Simons and good old Jeremy Grant went for 84 combined last week. Like that's yeah. I mean those two are some dogs, man.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean,
it's Trailblazers all day.
Yeah,
I don't get that line. I took that today just because I've already bet that just because I think that's going
It'll
to
change.
change.
It'll change a lot.
it'll probably be.
I mean, if you look on
8.5
ESPN,
tomorrow.
they've confirmed, like, not day to day, not questionable. Wall, Leonard, George, and Kennard are all not even traveling.
Hey, just an FYI, Tyler. Sun's covered.
That's what I'm talking about. Love it. Love that for the program. Guys, that was the NBA episode. But I'm going to touch on one thing. USA plays Iran tomorrow in the World Cup. It's a must win for USA. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to bet $9.11 versus Iran. 9-11. All right, let's get it going. All right. And so USA all day. Pulisic to score a goal. Give me that. All right. Guys.
We're going to bet it and we're not going to watch it because soccer's terrible.
I'm going to
go USA. Go USA.
I'm going to watch
You almost killed me.
All right. Guys, we'll see you next time. Justin Fields is the answer, even though he didn't play. He's got dislocated shoulder. The Bears have the number 2 pick. We love it. Bet responsibly.